Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, the #1 Raiders channel here on YouTube and Facebook. The Raiders, they got some tough decisions coming up because the NFL cut deadline is on Saturday, August 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The deadline means the Raiders got to trim that 90-man preseason roster down all the way to 53 guys. So today's show is my 53-man projection for the Oakland Raiders. About a month ago, I already put out a video, but we got to update it a little bit now that we're heading into Week 4 preseason games, and I'm telling you what, the Raiders got to get rid of 37 players, and I'm telling you right now, it will not be easy. So I was thinking about this the other day. I was wondering how many Raiders fans watch my videos. So what I want you guys to do on this video is like the video if you're a Raiders fan. So if this video gets 10,000 views, I should probably get 10,000 likes. So what I want to see is how many Raiders fans, and I don't want like half-ass fans, I want some die-hard Raider Nation for Life fans liking this video. Okay? So if you're a Raiders fan, like this video and tell your friends to like this video. And while you're at it, subscribe. Link is below. So let's get into this 53-man projections, and I'm starting with the quarterbacks. I think the Raiders are going to keep Carr, Glennon, and Peterman. For simple reasons, Gruden loves Nathan Peterman. And I mean, Glennon and Peterman both this preseason have actually played pretty well. Now, you can look at the numbers and you can say, okay, Peterman, 317 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Oh, he's also got 70 rushing yards. But here's the thing with Mike Glennon. The 413 yards is on less attempts, and he played very, very well in that Week 2 preseason game, which I think actually means more than the first and third game for the Oakland Raiders. Here's another reason. When I was originally doing my projections, I was like, man, I don't know if they're going to put Peterman on the team. And then Jon Gruden had a beautiful quote today that basically said, I don't want to give out his name because he's worried against, I guess, other teams could potentially be looking at him. But he also said that Nathan Peterman's completed 75% of his passes, and passes that are being dropped are more due to the receivers. Gruden is loving some Nathan Peterman. So should the Raiders keep both Mike Glennon and Nathan Peterman? Okay, should we keep both Glennon, Peterman? I want to know from you. Type Y for yes or type N for no. I'm curious. Now, if you think they should only keep Glennon, let me know. If you think they should only keep Peterman, let me know in the comments section. Let's go to the running backs now. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Richard, DeAndre Washington, and Alec Ingold. These will be the 4 running backs / fullbacks that the Oakland Raiders keep. You're going to cut Butler, you're going to cut Brown, and you're going to cut Keith Smith. By cutting Keith Smith and keeping Ingold, you save about $1 million. DeAndre Washington beat out Doug Martin. We also found out then that Doug Martin had a shoulder injury, so he was placed on the IR. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Richard, DeAndre Washington. Washington said that he wants to prove to the Raiders that they have a 3-headed backfield. Here's the thing, though. I am so excited about Josh Jacobs, and nothing away from Jalen Richard or DeAndre Washington, but Josh Jacobs is going to freaking ball out this year. So I want to have some fun here on the Raiders Report. We always brag here that we are the most interactive channel, and this is a way where I'm going to prove it to you guys. So how many rushing yards will Josh Jacobs have this season? I want you guys to comment below, okay? Comment below how many rushing yards Josh Jacobs is going to have this season, and the first person to DM me on Instagram the correct number. So if you DM me literally right when this video posts, so hopefully you have your notifications turned on. If you send me, he's going to rush for 1,200 yards, and then at the end of the year he runs for 1,200 yards, I'm going to Venmo you $28. So how many rushing yards for Josh Jacobs? The first person to slide in my DMs on Instagram and gets it correctly, one winner gets $28 from your boy. Let's go to projected wide receiver depth chart. This was tough. This was probably the hardest part of this video. Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, in. Harris, J.J. Nelson, I think they make the team because of special teams. Ryan Grant's been working with the first-team offense in the preseason. I think him and Hunter Renfrow are going to be top slot players. Then you see Keelan Doss. Keelan Doss has been absolutely sensational this preseason. 11 catches, 99 yards. He leads the Raiders in targets, receptions, yards after the catch, first down catches, and he's tied for first with touchdowns with 1. But Keelan Doss has been a player, the undrafted free agent, that I've been pounding this table, knock on wood if you're with me, because Keelan Doss deserves to make this team, and I straight up said if Keelan Doss doesn't make this Raiders team, I will do Edwards 40 hands. I might even go absolute AWOL because this kid deserves to make the team. Now here's the thing though. the Raiders have a lot more wide receiver talent, and it was tough to make these cuts. It pains me. And I can't even imagine how tough it's going to be for Jon, for Mike, for the coaches to look at these wide receivers in the eyes and say, sorry, guys, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to be a Raider this year. Keon Hatcher's a solid player. Marcel Aitman was by far the hardest one. Pearson L., Rico Gafford. I think these players have shown a lot of good things this preseason, but the Raiders' offense is just a lot more talented this year. It's plain and simple. A lot more talent this year around AB, around Tyrell Williams. But my favorite thing about this entire graphic is the fact that Keelan Doss, I think, is going to make that 53-man roster. Raider Nation, you like this video? I sure do hope so. Here's the thing. If you are just super pumped for the season, I want you to like this video. Do you know how many days there are until the football season starts? 13, man. I've been counting down the days. Every single day I wake up, I cross it off on my calendar. So Raider Nation, if you're excited for the 2019 season, I want you to like this video right now. And if this thing gets under 1,000 likes, I'm going to be pissed. I am going to be really upset because y'all should be super hyped for this season. So it's 13 days away. So you know what? You want another chance to make some money? Here you go. How many yards will Hunter Renfrow have this season? How many receiving yards will Hunter Renfrow have this season? The correct pick gets $13 for me. If you don't realize why I'm putting out these numbers, 13 for Hunter Renfrow, 28 for Josh Jacobs. So the first person to DM me on Instagram, their prediction for Hunter Renfrow, and if you get it right, I'm picking only one winner. So first come, first serve, turn on those notifications. You're going to get $13. Hey, big spender, but hey, got to do it. Here on the Raiders Report, how many receiving yards for Hunter Renfrow? Tad's laughing at me. Let's go to the tight ends now. Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, Derek Carrier. To me, Waller is the clear-cut tight end one here. He's going to be really interesting. Jon Gruden has called him the best secret in the NFL. Foster Moreau, one of the reasons why I think Carrier makes the team is just simply because of special teams. And it's something that we've talked about here before on the Raiders Report. The fact that I think Carrier is that special teamer is why he's going to make the team over Luke Wilson, who is a blocking tight end, over Paul Butler, who just unfollowed me on Twitter. So Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, Derek Carrier, these will be the three tight ends that I anticipate the Raiders keeping. And Darren Waller, I'm telling you right now, if you guys like fantasy football, go out and get this kid in fantasy football drafts because he is going to have one hell of a breakout season. Let's go to the offensive linemen. I know I said before the wide receivers might have been the toughest part. I might have been lying. So, Colt Miller, Denzel Good, Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown, Brandon Parker. I'm going to say Lester Cotton makes it over Jonathan Cooper because some reports are around Cooper not looking so good. Debbie, and then Kirkland. The one name that you're like, Mitch, where is Richie Incognito? This is something important to note. Incognito, we know that he suspended the first 2 games. But note this, suspended players don't count against that 53-man roster. What I anticipate the Raiders doing is when Incognito comes back after week 2, you could look to see one of these other players like a Lester Cotton, potentially, it's probably my prediction, end up then on his way out. So, Richie Incognito, he is suspended those first 2 games. I still anticipate him being the starter. Mike Mayock, they knew he was going to be suspended. They brought him in anyway, the former Pro Bowler. So even though you don't see him on my projected O-line depth chart, it's because suspended players don't count against that 53-man cap. So the offensive line, right? This is something that we've talked about numerous times on the Raiders Report. And one of the guys that I've been the hardest on, giggity, is Tom Cable. So I want you guys to grade Tom Cable this preseason. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me get my Kool-Aid sipping. Sip of my Kool-Aid. Obviously, that's not beer, I promise you guys. But I want you guys to grade Tom Cable this preseason. The thing that we always do is say FC. Sure, there's a C and an F on the screen, but I don't really know if that's what Tom deserves. I think the Raiders' offensive line this preseason has actually played pretty well. So A, B, C, D, or F. You know it begins with F. FanDuel, F yeah. So if you want to challenge me on FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com/chatsports. There's a lot of people out there that are always like, Mitch, can I play against you in fantasy football? Can I bet against you? You want to prove that you're smarter than me? Here's a good way to do it. So go to FanDuel.com/chatsports. You got to use that link. When you sign up and deposit, you'll get $20 for free with that first deposit. And also, okay, I'm trying to get together a nice little Raiders-only fantasy football league. So FanDuel.com/chatsports. Once you do that, okay, use my promo code chatsports. I'll send you to the league invite. It's all good. Let's go now to the defensive line. This is what I think is going to happen, okay? This was another tough one, tough decisions to make here for the Raiders. Anthony Rush makes the team. Mo Hurst makes the team. You're going to notice Jelly isn't on the team. I don't think that the Raiders keep him. It's going to be too much money. Benson Mayock, Cleveland Ferrell, Josh Murrow, my dude, Max Crosby, Arden Key. But one player that I really want to talk about is Anthony Rush. I'm going to say out of all the storylines, out of all the UDFAs, minus Keelan Doss, this has been the best story. Kid's out of UAB, 350 pounds. Maybe I shouldn't call him a kid because he's a giant human being. And then he's also 6'5". 9 tackles, 8 solo. He has fully just earned a flat-out spot with the Oakland Raiders. And you know what, Anthony Rush, if y'all are with me that Anthony Rush should make this team, knock on wood, because Anthony Rush is making this team, and I'm getting an adrenaline rush talking about the Raiders this year. Y'all better like that video. All right, let's talk about Corey Liuget. I keep screwing up his name. I know, I suck. Corey Liuget. I'll get it, I promise. These are his numbers the last 4 years. Not too solid, but you also have to consider the fact that he's been suspended. He's missed some games with some injuries, and he said that he's fully healthy and fully determined. I think the reason why the Raiders brought him in is because he is ultimately going to be a defensive tackle that the Raiders at least rely on, because Rush is young, Hurst is young, Hankins is only 27 years old, 28 years old. I think Corey, as a veteran, can teach some of these younger players and just be a solid run stopper. So here's my projected defensive line for the Oakland Raiders. Let's go to the linebacker, shall we? I like it. Whitehead, Perfect, Marshall. Sounds pretty perfect to me. Markel Lee, who I think has played pretty well. Tad, don't look at me like that. Jason Kabinda, and then Morrow. The tough decision for me here was between Wilbur and Kabinda. I'm going to go with Kabinda. I just think he's the younger player. I think he has more upside. Sure, there might not be too much more upside, but I think the fact that he can play that middle linebacker position, I went with Kabinda over Kyle Wilbur. So are you going to the Raiders game week 1? Are you going to the Raiders game week 1? I want to know. Type 4 for Believe It Baby or type 0 for Tuck Rule. Here's the thing. I want every single person to go to the Raiders week 1, but I understand that sometimes the tickets are expensive, flights are tough to do. So here's the thing. If you can't make it to the game, how about you come just party with me on Sunday? So the Black Hole, they are throwing a dope party. There's going to be Raiderettes. There's going to be Victoria's Secret models. There's going to be past Raiders players, and this guy that does this show on YouTube sometimes, he's kind of a dick. His name's Mitch. He's also going to be there. So go to theblackhole.com/kickoff for tickets, and if you want a promo code, use Mitch, 25% off, and then put this in your calendar, because this is when it is. It's at the Radisson Hotel, Oakland Airport. If you're staying at the Radisson Hotel, I got a little bit extra thing for you, okay? I want you to DM me party for tickets, because I can save you $100 if you're staying at the Radisson Hotel. So even if you can't go to week 1 versus the Broncos, Donkeys, I want you guys to come party with me Sunday beforehand, and then I'm also going to be hanging out with a lot of people during the tailgate on Monday. I'm really excited. I don't know if you can tell. Raiders, Broncos, yeah, that's a win. Let's go to the projected defensive back depth chart. Garyon Conley, Darrell Worley, Abram, Joseph, Joyner. No surprises there. Trayvon Mullen, I went with Isaiah Johnson. He is dealing with, and I quote, a facial injury. So we're still trying to figure out what exactly that is. Eric Harris makes this team. And then I'm going with another UDFA. I'm going with Keyshawn Nixon. I definitely think that this kid has earned that right to play on this team. He's a tough little nickelback. Hey, horrible band. But if there's another name that I want you guys to keep an eye on, it's Nevin Lawson. Nevin Lawson has played very well this preseason. He's been getting a lot of work, and he's played well in practice. So he suspended the first 4 games. So one of the things that I think that this Raiders team could look at is say, okay, well, Nevin played pretty well for us, so when he potentially comes back, you could see them potentially making another cut. I don't know who it's going to be quite yet. I mean, Isaiah Johnson, I like the kid out of Houston, but he was drafted in the 4th round. They're obviously going to keep Mullen. They're obviously going to keep Harris. Nixon is another player you could look at. Maybe Lawson fills in for. But that is my defensive back depth chart. If y'all don't like it, my Twitter's below. You can yell at me. Let's go to special teams here. Daniel Carlson. Love me some Daniel Carlson. A.J. Cole. And then Trent. That is a great special teams depth chart. Now, DePaula, he was just recently released. That's going to end up saving the Raiders close to about $1 million. A.J. Cole beat out Johnny Townsend. Johnny, I wish you the best, but A.J. Cole's got a big leg, and hey, you know what they say about big legs? You should be a punter in the NFL. Get your mind out of the gutter. So here's the thing. You know what I really like? Raider Nation. And I appreciate everyone who watched this video until the end. So I want you to DM me the word like on Instagram because I want you to join my Raiders only fantasy football tournament. The only way you will get an invite, the only way, is if you DM me like on Instagram. So if you want to compete against me, and also there is a money prize if you come in first, join my Raiders only fantasy football tournament. It's at MitchellRents365 on IG. So slide in those DMs. Raider Nation, you better send me that word like. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.